Hey everyone, welcome back to A Piece of Her. Today's piece of me is tender. It's about mothering daughters, but not just little ones. It's about mothering women who carry their own dreams, their own struggles, and their own calling. I'm a mom of two incredible daughters. My oldest is Ariane. She is rocking it as a clinical therapist. She's already a cycle breaker, an individual who was able to go in and has a natural ability for working with individuals, and particularly young people. I can remember as a baby of going through some struggles of my own. And she's about 1 or 2. And I remember crying and going through some things. And I remember her coming over with her little boppy, and she gently rubbed my face, but then she rubbed the tears and she gave me a hug. And this is like at 1 or 2. I already knew that she was going to have just such a great role in the world of helping others. And I see her doing that now, and I'm so very proud of her. She's doing work that only I could only dream of when I was her age. And she had it all figured out in high school. She knew she had some struggles of her own, and she knew from that point on that I'm going to go and I'm going to be an art therapist. And so now she is working with young people, with helping them work out some of their challenges and difficulties through the use of art. And I'm just so proud of her. And my youngest daughter, Shia, she just graduated from high school. So I'm so excited about her future. And she's just stepping into her own. And she is the one that I have really been eyeing these last couple of years, just as an entrepreneur and a person that believes in legacy and creating, is that she's the one I believe is going to be able to say, I'm going to take on the business, the family business, and be able to be of influence, great influence. She's already a leader by nature. I'm seeing that within her. I also see her doing multiple ventures as well. So I'm really excited because she is finding her voice now. She is taking leadership and taking charge, even just coming fresh out of high school. I'm so excited for her too, because she's done something as probably a 3rd generation, a 4th generation entrepreneur actually. She's done something that we did not do, which was working in high school and leaving high school to work in a family business, which may be common to some others, but for us it was something new to be able to watch her to balance all of that. And so I'm excited. This was something I didn't just kind of jump on her and say, hey, you got to do this. It was something that she just naturally gravitated to. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about legacy. I mean, there's a lot of chitter and chatter about this thing here in terms of, well, some people, they have it easy and they have it because we're starting from the beginning. And that is true. But this is the thing here. We got to be careful what we say, because if we do it the right way, guess what? Your children will inherit what you began. And so we don't want our children and our grandchildren to suffer because the people that went before them created something that was supposed to travel down into the future. And so I always tell my daughters to never be ashamed over whether it be the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd generation worked hard to basically pass over into your hands so that it can travel. That is what we call legacy. And so when they were little, I worked full-time in business, and I worked full-time as a student. And so my hands were always full, and sometimes not as present because of building a business. But the thing about it is that they were always there. There's some things that I really missed out on in their lives, was just being totally present because of the responsibility as an entrepreneur. But they were a lot of times at the same, sitting at the table, working alongside of me, watching me do different things, coming to meetings, and just mothered them. I had to mother them by doing. I had to mother them by fixing, and mothering them at the same time by holding it down and holding it together. Sacrifice was with that process too, of just building while building a family. So it gets really complicated. But mothering them now is different for me, and I had to accept that just recently after my daughter Shia crossed the stage and graduated from high school, because now I have 2 grown women and mothering looks different. I always say that, there's this cliche, well, when you leave the house, when they turn 18, it's done. No, when they turn 18 and 19, this is when it gets really complicated, because this is where you truly learn how to pray and intercede for your children, because of the fact that they are no longer, in most cases, in maybe your direct care. It's easy to go for it's easy to walk about with like a 2 or 3 year old where you say, just stay close to me, let me hold your hand while we go into this store, or you're covering them and you're around them all the time. But when they turn when they get to the point where they're women and now they are out in the world and they're journeying throughout, it is difficult, because it's less about fixing things, and it's more about listening. It's less about directing, so you can't tell them what to do and how they're going to do it and where they're going to go, but it's more about guiding. I find myself now saying that I'm their mother, but I'm also their coach. I'm also the person that's offering them advice, offering them suggestions as they navigate the spaces that they are in. Now, as career-minded or goal-driven women, they're in a whole different world where sometimes it's just like, Mom, I need you to hear me out concerning this particular situation. And it's tough as a mom, because as a mom, when they're little, you want to go in and fix it, right? Who said this to my kid? Who said this about my kid? Let me go up here and talk to the school about this incident. Well, no, you can't do that as they navigate being adult women. And so it's less about me telling them who to be as well too, where I find myself, you can't tell them what to do, who they're going to be, who they're going to hang out with, but it's more about reminding them they already are who God has created them to be. So everything that is going to happen, that has been destined and designed by God, it's more about being faithful, about being committed, about trusting, more about praying, more about learning from the lessons. And so you're going to go throughout life. Is this one of the things that I'm working with them now too, with some challenges and some trials and setbacks. But what did we learn from that? So this is a piece of me that I'm learning in as well. And what does mothering adult daughters look like? And so I'm also learning that it is more about releasing the pressure to control their story as well. I think every parent has an idea from the time that their child is born of what they want to see them do. They already have the story written in terms of who they will marry, what kind of car they will drive, what school they'll go to, what career path they're going to choose. But then they turn 18 and they begin to have a mind of their own, and they have dreams of their own and what it is that they want to do. So it means trusting the seeds that you've planted. And so what I have to do, and anybody who is going through this journey as well too, is that you begin to see the seeds that you planted years and years and years ago begin to bloom. They begin to blossom. And guess what? They bloom in ways that you didn't even expect. You didn't even anticipate that they would bloom that way. When I began to see how Shia would interact with different ones and her leadership style and her approach to working with others, I was was simply amazed. But those were seeds that were planted. When I watch Ariane and her stick-to-itiveness and how she studies and how she is very detailed and how she facilitates. I mean, she is absolutely a beast at facilitating. I can step back and say, these are all the many seeds, but they're doing it in their own way. When they bloom, I also see it as having honest conversations about our own mistakes. I've done that, as becoming a mom that's mothering and nurturing adult women, because I'm just a big believer in, you don't just, they're 18 now, okay, whatever. It's a whole new world now, with mothering them from adulthood now. And so it's having those honest conversations. It's about sharing with them some of the struggles so that they see what it is that I've had to endure. It's allowing them to watch me in those messy spaces and being able to see, how did mom come out of this? But it's also knowing that, hey, that they're watching everything that I'm doing. It's about making those mistakes and coming back and saying, hey, I made a mistake here. Or when it comes to breaking cycles, it's all about saying, you know what? This is the thing that I need you to know, because no one called this out. No one identified it. No one really spoke to the fact that this is a real dysfunction. And so I'm acknowledging this so that and this is how you should take this on. This is what you need to be aware of. Sometimes becoming as a mother with adult children is coming back and saying, you know what, I need to apologize. I didn't get that right. I didn't get that right when it came to maybe how I handled you or how I responded. And so I want to make sure that I apologize to you so that, I'm not always right. Sometimes you're going to find that you'll be empowered by your adult children because they're coming in with so many different lenses of perspective. And so now their perspective is different. And then sometimes you have to admit that, you know what, this is right, And so sometimes it's about coming back and saying, I apologize. And what I've learned is that as I do that, I recently had a situation where, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, where Ariane she was under pressure, and she in her mind thought that she was being sharp with me. And so she said something and she responded, and I just said, okay. And I know pressure. So I just figured, okay, she's under pressure. I'm going to give her grace. I'm not thinking anything of it. But I received such a sweet text message. It was probably a couple hours later saying, Mom, I really want to apologize to you because I felt like I was a bit sharp with you and I shouldn't have done that. So I'm just going through a lot right now. So that let me know that she's not only just going to do that with me, but I'm excited because in the future, when she has children, then I know that she's going to be able to do that with her children, and knowing that, hey, I admit and I took time to pause and just really self-evaluate and say, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. I was under pressure. Let me know let me let you know that I'm under pressure and I apologize for my actions. And so that's one of the things that we've been saying, like, no, we apologize around here. As sisters, helping them to understand that, look, if you have an issue, if you have a concern, you don't with your sister, you talk about that. And then once you talk about it, if you're good, you don't never want to go and talk about it to everybody else and not have that connection with your sister. And so it's like you guys are adults. And so now it's like growing together in your own, I always talk about their own individualized identities, and so that they know and they honor who God has called each of them to be individually. I've also learned that my yes to my own calling gives them permission to say yes to theirs. And so as they see me doing bold, what I consider to be bold and courageous things, evolving, starting something new, doing something fresh, it gives them the permission to say, hey, you know what? Let me try something new. If Mom can get out there and she's trying new things and I know that she was afraid to do X, Y, and Z, then you know what? I'm going to be fearless. I'm going to get out there there. I'm going to be bold. Some of the things that we do or have to, in many cases, overcome, it's not even about us. It's about us being able to overcome those things so that the generations behind us that are coming up can step into them. And so sometimes we have to sacrifice how we feel about a matter or what we don't want to do, but it's about me saying yes to what I have to do so that in the future they're able to walk in what they're called to do. So if I hold back, I create this culture of just hold back, just, grab on the fear. But if I say, no, we're going to confront fear, then it gives them permission and a blueprint for knowing how to confront fear. So in other words, I had to learn that they need to see me grow. Even while they're growing. So even as they're growing as young women, they're still seeing mom grow in this area. And that speaks to how they walk upon their journey. They need to see that obedience to what God is calling me to be at, or any person at any age limit. Like, okay, it doesn't stop here. Like, just because you've reached this point in your life, it doesn't mean that, nothing is, I can't move forward. I can't do anything. So they have to be able to see the evolution that's happening. And that's important to me as a mom, because what I want them to do is to never be stuck, never to be stagnant. Sometimes we have moments where we're like on pause. We have to always say realize, refocus, and relaunch. I'm all about the relaunching. So sometimes things have to be relaunched. Sometimes things have to be restarted. There's some reigniting that has to go on. But that's different from being stuck. But I want them to be at a point where at any age that they're not afraid to start all over again or to start something new, because they've seen it done. Like, oh, mom's done. Okay, yeah, we can do this. Let's go. So sometimes things that we are terrified of, or the things that, I'll make it personal, things that I've been terrified of doing, some of the motivation that I have to do that is because of my daughters. I want them to be able to see that and be able to move. They need to see that becoming doesn't expire when they leave the nest. So when they leave home, that becoming is that constant journey. So in other words, what I want to say to any of the mothers that are listening to this, if you're navigating how to stand beside your grown children, like, no, you still have space. There's still so much that you can impart. There's so much wisdom. There's so much growth, even for you. You're still growing. I always say that even as your child goes beyond that, what they consider to be adult age of 18, when they go through things at 21, that is something that as a mom, you've never experienced before, unless you have a child that's, beyond 21. But what I'm saying is that their situations when it comes to dating as a mom, if they go through a situation you've never experienced, that's going to be new for you. You're still mothering, and it's still new for them. When they go and they start their first job, and they're really charted down that career path, and maybe they run up against some opposition or some conflict, this is new for them, and they're going to share their hearts with you. It's going to be new for you as a mom. And so you're still growing and you're still navigating, because as long as they're living, they're going throughout life. And although they're adults and they're grown, it's good to be able to still have that nurturing mother there that can help you navigate those spaces, because perhaps I haven't gone through everything that I've seen them go through even at 18. I didn't know what it was like to work in a family business and go and be a senior in high school at all, but I've watched my youngest daughter navigate that, and it amazed me. But there are some things that I can relate to. So it's okay if you're still learning how. Because as a mom, we're always learning and growing, as our children are. And it's okay if the relationship feels new, because sometimes it does, because now it's like, now I'm looking at my professional student, my clinical therapist, and she's coming with all of the terms and the vernacular for her field. And it's like, whoa, this ain't just a kid, this is a whole professional. Like, I have a whole professional that's talking talking to me professional to professional. So it will feel new. And now I have an 18-year-old who's just graduating college that's coming out like, I'm the baby, but I'm not a baby no more. And you gotta let me show you what I can do. And now I'm watching her create plans, and I'm watching her give directives and do different things. It's like, whoa, this is a whole new person. So now I'm dealing with not just daughters, but now daughters who are career minded, and now they're professionals and they're building as well, where they've watched mom build, but now they're on a journey to building as well. So your daughters don't or sons don't just need your advice. They absolutely need the example. And that's what I find myself saying is like, okay, light on the advice, but showing by example, leading by example, listening is so hard right now, because as kids, you just tell them what you need them to do. But as a mom with adult children now, it's like trying your best to just listen. And sometimes it's like, don't say nothing unless they ask you to do that. How do you help them, push them out into the spaces that they are called to walk in, that you see that's on their life too, that maybe they don't see just yet, but not overstepping what it is that they desire. So there's some things that I've noticed about them that maybe they get it now, but maybe years ago when I was saying, well, you should think about this, you should think about that, it's like, no. But now they're seeing like, oh yeah, I can see this. I'm watching them grow in ministry, which is absolutely amazing. And so one of the toughest things too is making sure that they understand that my journey is not their journey. And so I've been blessed that they come alongside of that, and that they're willing to be a part, but it's knowing that, hey, this is a new journey that's beginning for each and every one, for each of them too. So understanding that they have their individualized purpose and their goals. And it's hard too, because it's like the capacity in which they serve, and even in helping, I know that their journeys may lead them out of that. And so that's another thing too. And so it requires me to accept the fact that they have boundaries as well too. So as much as I will always see them as my little girls, as adult women, they have boundaries that I have to now respect. It's requiring my honesty and what maybe I think that it might be something that I feel, but I have to be honest enough to say, this is how I feel, but it's more about you and less about what I'm feeling, so it requires my trust, because now as young women, they come in and it might be some feelings that they have concerning whatever. Can they trust me to not react? Can they trust me to listen to them in the space that they're in? And then it also requires me just becoming like, what is it that they need as a mom in this season? So they have this saying that says, and this is the one thing that I love about it, is because they, you listen at the saying of when they were 2 and 3, they were like my little broke best friends. You hear that saying, your little broke best friends. And I always tease them and say, I ain't got no little broke best friends for daughters, because when we go out, they give lavishly, they treat the lunch, and they do all of those different things. It's like, oh, I'ma love this. All these, y'all professionals now. And so I got some little friends that, that can do some things. And so it's such a beauty though. It's a beautiful to be, a mom, but it's a beautiful while they were little, and this is a new journey for me as they advance in becoming and watching them grow into young women, and what I hope to be able to see in the future as moms too. So today I bless every mother raising future leaders, every woman standing in the tension of just letting go, and holding close to your daughters who may be growing up and what they seem to be growing out of. Yeah, Mom, we don't want to be here. We don't be here. So I pray for every woman that is having that difficulty of letting go, but still being connected. And those of you who are learning that the legacy is not just what you build for them, but what you build in front of them. Because legacy is all about building, and not just for, I always say too, like I build and I know that they're a big part of that, but then there's other spiritual sons and spiritual daughters, and just legacy is not necessarily even just a thing. It could be values. It could be a way of thinking. It could just be breaking cycles. And so that's what's exciting for me, is that we hold on to that. It's not what you build for them, but what you're building in front of them, so that they can eventually come and say, okay, I got it from here, and let's keep building. And so today, Ariane and Shia, this piece of me is for you. And my prayer is that you will always see me as your mom becoming, that you will always see me evolving, that you will always see me being fearless and unafraid, and maybe hesitant at sometimes, but always jumping out there, doing something new. And that is so that you know that you never have to stay the same. You never have to stay the same. Always stay committed to evolving. So thank you so much, everybody, for sitting in with me. This is another piece of my story. If this spoke to you, share it with another mom who needs this reminder too. Connect with me on all socials, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please, please, please do so. And let's keep becoming her together. Until next time.